Donald Trump's disastrous economic policies are hitting the entire country like a wrecking ball, but arguably ground zero where we're seeing lots of job loss and hardship is a state that Donald Trump visited a lot, where he made all of these promises, which he's been breaking day after day for the past 100 days. I'm talking about the state of Michigan. There's this op-ed from the Wall Street Journal talking about Michigan's unemployment rate is now spiking. The state jobless rate jumps to 5.5% in March, and the trade war against the world and China is only making things worse. Right now, we're seeing some of the highest jobless jumps in any state happening in Michigan. And of course, Donald Trump now wants to visit Michigan this week on Tuesday, where he's going to lie about everything that's happening and just spew the usual MAGA nonsense. I was wondering what the MAGA Republican Congress members were going to say about Donald Trump showing up and what he was going to say, because it's objectively been the worst 100 days ever, and that's being reflected on the polling data. But, you know, it's Trump MAGA cult members. I mean, take a look at Michigan Republican Congress member Bill Huizenga. Here's what he's got to say. Play this clip.
I think what Joe is leading into is really the point, right? The underlying belief that we need to do something and something significant is what my constituency, I think what Michigan and what much of the country believes. And there is no doubt that I believe he's going to go down the path of talking about promises made and promises kept. No one should be surprised at the direction that he's gone. This is probably the most transparent president we've ever had in the modern era about what he wants to do and how he wants to do it.
I mean, just literally, how do you know a MAGA is lying? They open up their mouth. That's Congressmember Huizenga right there. Then Donald Trump posted, "Thank you to my wonderful friends in Michigan's Republican delegation." He talks about the big, beautiful bill. Michigan Democratic State Senator superstar Mallory McMorrow wrote the following: "This big, beautiful bill is a big, bad disaster. Even if you aren't one of the 2.6 million Michiganders on Medicaid, you will be impacted. Hospitals, senior centers, and more depend on Medicaid funds. Losing that equals huge cuts to services and staffing. Everyone will feel it." Let's bring in Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow, who's also running for the Democratic Senate seat right there in the state of Michigan. You jumped in that race, and we had you on before, right before you made the official announcement. It's good to have you on, Senator McMorrow. So tell us about Donald Trump's visit. What can we expect?
Listen, it's wild to say that listening to Congressman Huizenga say this is the most transparent president of our lifetime, and he's going to say promises made, promises kept. Well, if he comes to Michigan, he promised to bring prices down. He promised that we would have explosive job growth. He promised that we would bring manufacturing back. And we've seen none of that. I mean, what they are proposing right now in slashing Medicaid to be able to continue to pay for the Trump tax cuts, as if Elon Musk needs another tax break and more money in his pocket, is going to decimate the state of Michigan. And what I think a lot of people don't realize, yes, 26% of the state's population is on Medicaid, but Medicaid does a lot more for the healthcare ecosystem in our state. It pays for birthing centers in hospitals. It pays for senior care centers. So even if your mom, your grandma is in a senior care center and you don't use Medicaid, the amount of funding that goes into that facility to keep it operational, to keep the services in line, to keep the staff there, your mom or grandma may not have a place to live if Republicans get away with what they are proposing in this so-called big, beautiful bill that, again, is a big, bad disaster, just full stop.
You know, people are focused right now on so many of the other disasters that Trump has caused. I mean, we're learning that, you know, the supply chain is basically coming to a halt based on his tariffs, and all of these manufacturers are saying, you know, we're not going to be able to, you know, supply inventory. We're not getting our parts. But coming right behind it's exactly what you're talking about is this budget, this big, beautiful bill that Donald Trump calls it, which is a big, gigantic disaster, which is going to add to the deficit and it's going to exacerbate and make things worse. So I think what you're seeing is like a double whammy taking place, or a infinite whammies based on what Trump's doing in Michigan right now. And this is lining up right after the other disaster. It's the perfect storm in many ways.
It really is. I mean, we had a hearing. I'm the vice chair of the State Senate Oversight Committee here in the state of Michigan, and we've been leveraging our committee to bring in people who are on the front lines of seeing the impacts. We brought in directors of Head Start programs who said they had to shut their doors, that people were showing up. They were terrified and livid that a service that they depend on, a place for their child, was not available to them. That means that they can't go to work. That means they can't get their income that helps pay for the necessary things that their child needs, food and diapers and clothing. But beyond that, the directors of Head Start programs told us that even if the funding is unfrozen and they got it, and they did get it, it was delayed. But they said the impacts to hiring, that it has just had a chilling effect because people come to interview at childcare centers. And the first question they ask is this a Head Start program? Is it federally funded? And when they say yes, people say, I don't want to work here, because nobody in their right mind would willingly take a job where, with the stroke of a pen from Donald Trump and congressional Republicans, their job could be eliminated. And we've seen this. Will they, won't they? They're firing people. They're hiring people. I talked to one small business owner in my district who is an entrepreneur, innovator, manufacturer of keyboards and typewriters. He said, we can't hire anybody. We don't know what the tariffs are going to do to our supply chain, to our costs. We are inevitably going to have to pass those costs on to our consumers. But that has derailed our entire business plan for the year. And we don't know if we're going to be able to recover.
And this shouldn't be a Democratic issue, a Republican issue. This is affecting the people who live in Michigan. It's just, I don't know, just so odd for me that you see someone like a Congress member Huizenga who, you know, does he know better? Is he so scared of Trump? I mean, how do you have just a group of people in the face of such obvious kind of pain and cruelty being inflicted that just show up and they just, you know, with a straight face say, this has been great.
I mean, this shows you why congressional Republicans advise their members, don't do town halls, stop showing up. Because if you put the headphones on and you don't listen to what your constituents are telling you. And this is cutting across party lines. We're having people come out to our committees in Lansing or to our town halls. It's not just Democrats. It's Democrats, Republicans, independents, people who may have been frustrated with the status quo. And I think we have to acknowledge that the status quo wasn't working for a lot of people. That's true. But the answer cannot be to just slash and burn with no regard for the people who are going to be impacted, with no regard to the impacts on the budget. I mean, we are looking at supply chain issues, childcare issues, healthcare issues, Medicaid issues, nursing home care issues, and none of it was inevitable. This was all intentional. Donald Trump intentionally did this, caused this chaos, and we are all left to grapple with what's going on. And he's going to descend here in Michigan and take credit for, I don't know what, for the highest spike in unemployment that we've seen in our state in decades. That's not anything to be proud of, but Republicans are just running away from the problem. And this is why we need Democratic leaders to step up and to be willing to enter into this fight and meet people where they are, to say, we hear you. Donald Trump lied to you. He lied to you. He's not helping you. Here is our plan. And one of the things we're doing on my Senate campaign is laying out a vision for a new American dream that acknowledges the status quo wasn't working, so that we can meet people where they are and say, yes, it wasn't working, but Donald Trump lied to you. And here's how we're going to fix it.
And finally, let's talk about that. What's your message to the people as you've been traveling around the state? How do we fix it? What does that look like, both in terms of the short-term fight and then the longer-term fight of I guess, rebuilding what he's destroying?
It really is about rebuilding. And our campaign is centered on this idea of a new American dream that centers on three things: success, safety, and sanity. Success meaning that if you work hard enough and you do everything right, that you should be able to afford to buy the house you want in the neighborhood you want to live in, that you're going to have access to safe schools, that you're going to be able to afford to start a family, save for retirement, and yeah, go on a vacation every year. We should dream bigger and imagine that we deserve the American dream that was promised to us as part of this country. Safety, meaning you should be safe in your neighborhoods, that we have to fix broken systems, but also that we are going to protect your fundamental civil rights, that you should not be targeted and demonized because of who you are, and that you should also not be afraid of the epidemic of gun violence, something that we have made massive strides on here in the state level in Michigan at a moment when the federal government has not been able to. And then finally, especially in this moment, sanity. This chaos is unacceptable. We have to get back to a place where we do not have Elon Musk taking a chainsaw to the government, slashing and burning through programs and services that you depend on. But we also need a government that actually works for you. More than anything else in my office, I get calls about the unemployment system, that if somebody typed in their name wrong, they are caught in this cycle of weeks, if not months, of trying to get the benefits that they've paid in for. The same thing if the federal government spends billions of dollars on, let's say, a network of EV chargers, you better damn well see those EV chargers in the ground so we can make government work and actually deliver for people so that we rebuild trust in institutions and we build something new in the rubble that Donald Trump is going to leave behind.
Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow running for United States Senate. State Senator Mallory McMorrow, where can people find more information about your campaign if they're looking for it?
I hope people will learn more. Head to McMorrowforMichigan.com. Donate if you can. Sign up to volunteer. We've got 10 million people to go meet across this big and beautiful state, and we're going to need your help.
I love it. Thanks for joining us, and everybody hit subscribe, and let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.